What does Kup Kin Duan mean? And why are you watching a video of an airplane landing? Well, if you want to know, keep watching to find out. This past March, my family went to Laos for a month. Since I would be missing part of my school unit on Earth and space, I was asked to learn about Lao beliefs on the sun, moon, and planets. So after moving into our little villa on the Mekong, we hopped on the motorbike. Safety first.
Are you ready to go?
Yeah. What is one place you can go if you want to find stories? Well, you can go to the library, of course. We visited a place called At My Library, and though we didn't find the stories we were looking for, we did get introduced to a monk named Obi who kindly invited us to his temple to talk. So we hopped on the motorbike again, and off we went. Laos is a mainly Buddhist country, and the city of Luang Prabang is full of temples. Many boys and young men decide to become novices, sort of like student monks in training. Some do this because their families are too poor to pay for an education, but some, like Obi, stay for a long time and become ordained monks. There was a friendly dog who followed us around the temple. Because Buddhists believe in compassion to all living things, stray cats and dogs can often find safe homes at temples like Obi's. Since Monk Obi teaches young novices, he was very good at explaining things. When we asked about the sun and the moon in Buddhism, he showed us how the Buddhist calendar uses the moon to mark special days. For example, the first day, a full moon, the 8th day, and the 15th day, new moon, of each lunar month are important times when people focus on spiritual matters instead of work. Also, the 8th lunar month marks the start of Khao Phan Sa, the 3-month Buddhist Lent. During this time, the monks and novices stay in their home temples, except for emergencies. On the last full moon of Khao Phan Sa is the Fireboat Festival, when people float homemade boats with candles and incense downriver to honor the river and Lord Buddha, and to wash away their sins and negativity from the past year. From Monk Obi, we learned a lot about the Buddhist calendar, but there were still things we didn't know. Since he had mentioned the diverse ethnicities of Laos,
there are 49 ethnic groups that you have to understand.
We went to the Traditional Arts and Ethnology Center to see what we could learn there. At the Ethnology Center, we talked to 3 people. They were all able to tell us something about a traditional belief on how a lunar eclipse is caused by a frog eating the moon, which Monk Obi had also mentioned.
Go like a frog, okay? Kindian, the frog eat the moon. In Lao we call Kindian.
But no one could seem to agree on whether you were supposed to make loud noises, or open doors, windows, or purses, or even whether it was good or bad luck.
In temple they hit the drum, or also like in the village and they hit something like makes loudly.
If you open the bag or your purse, it's like that. Or open your door or window, is that they have a good thing coming to you. It's like that.
The bad things come to the world.
And we still didn't really have any stories. Our Lao friend Kim introduced us to a lady who is a professor at a university called Grandma Van Yi. She told us 2 stories, one about the sun and one about the moon, and then also explained how the whole Kup Kin Duan thing fit together. The 2 sisters in the moon. Inside the moon, there are 2 sisters. If you look, you can see them when the moon is full. This is the story of how they ended up there. Once, there were 2 sisters. They had no father or mother because their father was dead and their mother lived up in the heavens. So the sisters had to live by themselves, gathering vegetables and catching fish to eat. One day, the 2 sisters cooked meat for dinner. Suddenly, ghosts appeared and called to the younger sister to come. When she saw the ghosts, she was terribly afraid and called for her mother and father to help. Then the two sisters ran. They saw an orange tree and climbed it. The ghosts tried to follow, but the sisters threw oranges down at them and called up to their mother, who was in the moon. The mother wove a length of cloth as quickly as she could to make a bag, which she would lower down to the sisters in the orange tree. As soon as the bag was finished, the sisters climbed into it, and their mother pulled them up, all the way to the moon, where they would be safe from the ghosts. Today, on a full moon, you can look up and see the sisters there, safe and sound. Grandfather Punya and Grandmother Nyanya. There are many versions of the story of the origin of the Lao people that tell how the sun came to shine on the earth. This is the version that Grandmother Vandi told us. You will notice that at Lao New Year, also known as Pi Mai, there are male and female lion masks that can be seen in Luang Prabang. Here's their story. A long, long time ago, when there were no people, the world was dark because there was a giant vine which grew all the way up to heaven and blocked out the light of the sun. At that time, there was a grandmother and a grandfather named Punya and Nyanya who were sent to the earth from heaven. They lived all alone in the world, but they had an enormous and wonderful garden where they grew wonderful plants. Eventually, Punya and Nyanya grew an unbelievably large pumpkin. When they listened, they could hear something inside. They listened harder and realized there were voices coming from inside of the pumpkin. So Grandfather Punya took a hot piece of iron and burned a hole in the side of the pumpkin. Out came the very first people. Some of the dark soot from the burned pumpkin rubbed off on their skin as they squeezed out the small hole, so the first people had dark skin. These were the Khmu people. Next came the Lao Lum, who spoke Lao, with lighter skin, and finally the Hmong. This is why the three main ethnic groups of Laos have different colors of skin. When the people came out of the pumpkin, they could climb the giant vine right up to the sky. Everyone could play in the sky whenever they wanted, and this was very good. But it was cold and dark on the earth because the vine blocked the sun's light. Finally, Punya and Nyanya decided that this would be best for the people if the vine was cut down, so they cut it, but were killed when it fell on them. After the vine was gone, the sun could reach the earth, which made it a better place for everyone. This is why Grandmother Punya and Grandfather Nyanya are remembered, and they are honored for the sacrifice they made every year at Lao New Year. Kop Kin Daan. In Lao, a lunar eclipse is called Kop Kin Daan, or Frog Eats Moon. The myth is exactly that. There is a giant frog who sometimes tries to eat the moon. When it eats only part of the moon, then spits it out again, people have good luck and can open things like doors, windows, pockets, purses, and so on to get good fortune. If the frog eats all of the moon, then people have bad luck. This is why Lao people might want to make noise during a lunar eclipse, to get the frog to spit out the moon so people will have good luck, not bad. So there is the answer to the mystery of Kop Kin Daan. And the moral of this story is, if you want to get to the bottom of a mystery, all you have to do is ask a grandma.